Have you ever sat in your car after an event, completely drained, and thought, is this really what I want to be doing for the next 10 years? Are you thinking about making a move? Maybe going freelance, stepping into leadership, switching companies, or even leaving the industry altogether. But the thought of it probably makes your stomach flip. Here's the real question. What's stopping you from making that change? Is it fear? Is it uncertainty? Or maybe you just don't know how to pivot without blowing up your life. If any of that resonates with you, then this video is for you. Today, we're going to be talking about pivoting your event career with confidence, whether you're staying in the industry or stepping out of it. And I'm going to give you a roadmap for doing it without the overwhelm. But first, I want to introduce myself. Hi, I'm Coach Nail. I am a strategic events consultant, a high performance coach, and I've served in the event industry for 20 plus years. I run a coaching business called Planners on Purpose, where I help ambitious event professionals who love what they do, but they are getting burned out doing it. I've seen it all, the highs of pulling off an incredible event and the lows of wondering if this pace is truly sustainable. And I've helped event planners just like you figure out their next move. So whether you're pivoting and you're thinking about pivoting within this industry or pivoting out of it, stick with me today. By the end of this video, you are going to have clarity on your options and confidence to take the first step. Before we dive into the how, let's just talk about the what. When I work with event planners who are ready for a change, they typically fall into two categories. And the reasons behind each pivot are a little different. So I wanted to break both of them down for you. So the first pivot type is staying in the industry and changing how you work. Now, this is for the planner who loves events but needs something to shift. The passion's still there, but the environment, the pace, the ceiling, or the lack of control is draining. Maybe you're not ready to leave, but you know something has to change, or you won't last, quite frankly. And so, what this pivot can pretty much look like in that environment is changing things up. Maybe that means moving from agency to corporate, corporate to agency. Both of them have trade offs, but changing up your environment in order to meet your goals. Agency life, for example, offers a variety of creativity. It's fast paced, but it often comes with long hours, high pressure, client chaos because frankly, you have many clients. Corporate life, it tends to offer better pay, stability, benefits, more predictable schedule, but sometimes there might be a little less creative freedom and it might be more repetitive. And freelance gives you the control of your clients, schedule, earning potential, but it does come with inconsistent incomes, no benefits, and you're handling everything yourself, which is a challenge on its own. Now, pivoting can also look like niching down to become an expert, specializing by event type, perhaps. So think of those conferences, galas, weddings, maybe trade shows. By industry, you can even niche, do healthcare, tech, finance, sports, or you can even niche by format. Perhaps you can do hybrid, virtual, destination events, experiential events. Niching down can perhaps increase your value and open doors for you to advancement so that you can stay employed. Now, if you're a planner looking to get into the event industry, you might also consider or looking to pivot in the event industry. You might want to consider positioning yourself for leadership. So moving from execution to strategy. Now that path might look different. So typically you might see people ascend in the order of like coordinator, planner, then to a senior planner, then maybe manager, director, VP on up. But leadership means mentoring others. You'll be responsible for building relationships, executives, owning strategic outcomes, not just logistics. So perhaps that's a route you might want to move towards. Finally, another reason why people might pivot is going out. They want to go out on their own. And that's another pivot that people are making here in the event industry. And that just means launching your own planning business, perhaps a consulting practice, a service-based offer. This can include full planning services, day of coordination, retainer consulting, or even just selling templates and resources. So would you pivot yet stay in the industry? Here's some reasons why you might do that. So if you're thinking about this and you're like, oh man, I am looking to pivot and looking to stay in the industry, why would I do that? Maybe it's that you've hit a ceiling. There's no room to grow where you are. Maybe you've been in the same level or at the same level for years. You're not learning anything new. No one's investing in your development. Have been in this area at a couple junctures in my life. It can be hard to find ways to safely navigate to where you need to be, but I'll share some tips on that at the end of the video. Secondly, the environment may be a problem, not the work. So perhaps you love events, but the agency grind is killing you, or corporate feels stale. Sorry to say that. Or your boss, maybe it's not fun working with your boss. Sometimes you don't need a career or a new career, you just need a new setting. And that's just is what it is sometimes. Another reason why you might need to pivot is that you want more autonomy and control. So you're tired of being told what to do, when to do, how to do it, and you want more ownership over your schedule, over your clients, your creativity, direction, your income. And maybe you're craving specialization. Maybe you've been doing more general work and you do need to go niche, like I spoke of just now. You might need to go deeper in one area or become the go-to expert in a niche that's going to excite you in the industry. And perhaps you're just ready to lead. That could be a reason why you're sensing a pivot. You've proven yourself perhaps operationally. Now you want to mentor, strategize, shape the direction of a team or department, not just execute someone else's vision on an event. And then finally, like my last reason that you possibly might want to pivot is that you just want to build something on your own. The entrepreneurial itch is real. So perhaps you want to be a CEO, not just a coordinator. You might want to build equity, create a legacy, and just plainly run your own show. And if that's you, I love that. So that's like what the pivot looks like for those that are pivoting within the industry. Tell me, why are you looking to pivot? I would love for you to keep the conversation going in the comments. At least say hello in the comments. Let me know which one you're looking at. And we'll move on to the next group of planners that take a pivot. And this pivot looks much different. So the next type of pivot is leaving the industry. So you're a planner and you're looking to pivot, but you are actually looking to leave and depart the industry. And you're looking to leverage your skills somewhere else, out of the industry. It is what it is. There are some planners that get to this point. I do know of many event planners and professionals that have moved on to do different things in other industries. So who would actually do this? Who would actually want to leave this beautiful industry, right? Well, this is typically for the planner who is just done. You've given everything to the industry, your weekends, your holidays, your mental health. You're ready to take your skills somewhere that doesn't really require a constant sacrifice. And it's understandable. This is the most popular reason people are leaving the industry, and it's just where the data exists. If you are in this position and you're not burned out, that's okay, right? But if you're in this position and you're not burned out because you're weak. You're burned out because event planning objectively is one of the most demanding careers out there, and you've decided it's time to do something different. Other reasons can be lack of compensation, maybe life has changed, or perhaps your lifestyle also has changed and you're just looking for something different outside of the industry, or you're outgrowing the work or have a lack of growth yourself. That is typically why people would leave the industry. And that's, if you're feeling this way, this very well may be some of the reasons why. But this type of pivot looks different because you're aiming for a different goal, right? Um, and it's going to be all about the reframing your experience. So your goal is more reframing your experience because you're looking at going completely out of the industry. So in this area of a pivot, you're not just an event planner. You've built relationships, you've managed complex projects, you've promoted brands, negotiated contracts, led teams under pressure, created experiences for thousands of people. That is going to be transferable gold, really. And not only that, let's you have to identify your transferable skills and where they lead. For example, if you do project management, you've managed timelines, budgets, vendors, and you've done all of this under pressure. If you just add in project management professional certification, or maybe get a Scrum certification, you could be a natural fit for other project management roles in areas like tech and healthcare and construction or even consulting. For account management, if you work in account management in the event space and you're looking to have transferable skills, client relationships and managing those relationships is huge. And that can translate directly to account management, customer success, or client services roles at other organizations. Some other examples would be procurement, right? Supply chain, those types of positions where you're doing vendor negotiations, contract management, that can map beautifully to other procurement or operations roles as well. And similarly to marketing and PR communication, that's event promotion, that's brand experiences. All of that can be moved towards another type of, if you gain another certification, you can actually round out that experience and do marketing and PR communications in other organizations as well. Now, when you're pivoting, you can also pivot by rewriting your resume for a new story. So that would just look like making sure that you're focusing on the outcomes on your resume instead of event specific tasks to make your resume look and be accepted by others in different industries that are looking at your transferable skills. So, for example, if you could say planned corporate events, instead of saying that, perhaps you've managed cross-functional teams with 500K plus budgets, and you've delivered seamless experiences for over 1,000 stakeholders. That speaks more to your transferable skills than just I've planned events. So why would people make this pivot? Perhaps you want to understand a little bit more of like, why do people really make a pivot to leave the industry altogether? Well, stress can be just unsustainable. Event planning was just ranked I think the third most stressful job in 2023. The Occupational Information Network ranks event coordinators as a stress tolerance level of 95 out of 100. And that just means a near constant high pressure situations are always expected in this industry. And one study found 1 out of 3 event professionals in this industry, it has negatively impacted their mental health. So if you're burned out, it's not personal failure. This is a systemic issue. It's not just you. Another reason why people would want to make this particular pivot and leave altogether is that planners are asked to do more with less. According to a 2025 Meetings Today survey, 89.6% of planners are feeling the pinch of increasing costs. 49% are being asked to stretch farther with smaller budgets, and 31% are battling declining attendance. And so technically, the math isn't mathing, and you're absorbing all of that pressure as a planner. Another reason is that planners feel underpaid, undervalued. So 44.6% of planners worry that they're not being paid what they're worth. Nearly 40% feel underappreciated for the value that they bring. And when you're overworked and you're underpaid and undervalued, it makes sense to ask, is there a better way? And I'm not just telling you this for mere facts. I mean, it just is what it is. These are the facts. And I'm not trying to down the event industry. I love this industry. I love this industry. It's been my life for decades. And I think that many people in this event industry love it too. This is just merely some of the facts and what other planners are saying about their work. Now, experienced professionals are leaving too, and they're also thriving. So, post pandemic, seasoned planners, they've left for a less stressful, more predictable career path. And they're actually being very strategic, and they're taking their skills and applying them in ways where they can thrive without sacrificing their health or relationships, which can be very important to people. Planners also want a life outside of work. So weekends, holidays, predictable hours, that definitely makes sense. They want to take care of their families, a career that doesn't need them to be on 24/7. It isn't too much to ask. So for them, leaving the industry might be the path to get there. And then the other reason is that plainly people have outgrown their work. And maybe that's just you. Maybe you're done. You've had an incredible run. You've learned everything you wanted to learn, and now you're ready for a new challenge. So essentially, planners aren't quitting. They're pretty much just evolving out of the industry. So as you can see, whether you're staying in, shaking things up, or stepping out and starting fresh, the question is going to become, how do you actually build the confidence to make that move? That is the question. And that's what we're going to move into right now. Confidence itself isn't something you either have or you don't. Research shows that it's a skill that you build. It's like a muscle. So I'm going to give you a few ways that you can navigate your pivot and navigate it in confidence. So your first I have 4 confidence strategies for you. So your first confidence strategy is to stack small in the direction of your pivot. So you don't have to land your dream job or assign your first client to start building confidence. You just need to stack small the wins that you have in the direction of your pivot. So I like to always say, walk in baby steps in the direction that you want to go. Keep building those skills, keep getting those small wins, and soon you'll find that you're exactly where you're going to need to be. Think of this. Have you updated your LinkedIn headline to reflect where you're going and what you want to do? If you did, then that's a win. Have you had a coffee chat with someone in your target role? If you did, then that's a win. Have you sent a first pitch or a proposal? That's a win. Track all of these wins. They're evidence that you're already becoming the person that you want to be. My strategy number 2 is a pivot can feel strategy number 2 is that you want to break this into smaller achievable steps. And this is different than the first one. The first confidence strategy of stack small is different because a pivot can feel paralyzing when you look at the big picture, like you want to leave your job or start a business or change industries. That's not how confident pivots happen. You need to break down your pivot into phases. So, for example, phase 1 might be research and exploration. You want to research where you want to go, what you want to do, what your niche would be. Explore what's going to excite you moving forward. Phase 2 might be skill building. Maybe there are some skills that you need to build up in order to get to your goal or to apply for that new role. Phase 3 is testing a side project. Maybe there's something that you can do, perhaps at your current organization or in a new one. Maybe you do a little freelancing to test it with the side project. before phase 4, where you take that actual leap. And that leap can be pretty tricky. So you want to make sure that you take that step out when you are absolutely ready. Each phase you complete builds your confidence for the next one. And you you already know how to, let's say, do a run of show for your event. This is essentially planning out like that run of show to build your career, and revise and revamp your career. Strategy number 3 is using your existing strengths as your pivot foundation. So studies are showing that people who regularly use their strength experience greater well-being, engagement, and confidence. Confidence in a pivot doesn't come from pretending that you're starting from scratch. It comes from recognizing what you're bringing with you, which are your strengths. So write down your top 5 strengths from your event career, map them to, let's say, your target pivot. You're not starting over. You're just building from a foundation that you've already exist. And then lastly, tie your pivot to your identity, not just an outcome. You want to frame your goals in terms of identity. So a 2024 study basically found out that framing their goals in terms of identity increase your follow through by 32%. And what this means is, instead of saying I am a person who does this, you want to have you want to be the person who does the thing, instead of saying you want to do the thing. So if you want to be an event planner or want to be more in a wedding niche, you could just call yourself a wedding specialist or a wedding planner, or I am a person who plans weddings, instead of saying I want to. So essentially, stop saying you want to pivot and start saying I'm someone who's designing my career path. Instead of saying I hope to own my own business, maybe just say I am building a business. So when you identify as the person making the pivot, your actions then start to align to that identity. So essentially, you stop waiting for permission and you just start moving into the direction that you want to go. So let me ask you something. Which type of pivot are you considering? Are you considering staying in the industry but changing how you work, or leaving the industry and taking your skills somewhere new? Or maybe you've already made a pivot. If you have, tell me what that looked like for you. I would love to hear about that in the comments. Your story might be exactly what someone else needs to hear. Drop your answer below in the comments. I read every comment and I would love to cheer you on. If this video is helpful, do me a favor, hit that subscribe button, turn on notifications so you don't miss the next one. I try to be here every week helping event professionals like you build careers and live lives that you actually enjoy. If you want to go deeper, I do have a free newsletter. I can share tips on time management, burnout prevention, career realignment, specifically for busy event pros. So I'll drop that link in the description so you can go ahead and join the Planner on Purpose community through the newsletter. Until next time, however, remember, you do have permission to design a career that works for you, not just one that works you. Stay on purpose, and I'll see you in the next video.